Daw ng italo, gandang ikaw.
Gerald to, di ba? Gerald to, di ba?
Di ba nga kanak ng birthday?
No?
Like ay like.
Oh, Gerald to, di ba? Muna hindi ako makapalo eh.
Kuya, di mo pa nag-guard.
Basta ako maglalak na yun.
Ikaw, ang taba-taba mo na.
Norlinda Bailambing Chavenia, thanks sa pag-like ng stream.
Paypan. Paano? Visa, ano to? Card number. Ipuan pala may card eh. Connect to PayPal. Pay. 14 pesos. Try ko kaya mag
Pagkalap ng board.
Oo, maglalak.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! Troops deployed!
Mamaya naman, ako na. Huwag mo na ganun.
I stand for the Empire!
Doon yung si Pakito.
We are the shield of the people!
Initiate retreat!
A real man never hides in the bush.
Launch attack!
I do not back out.
First blood!
With honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order. Together we are the Light's Order. We fight to the end. A true hero has come to help.
Launch attack!
Drive our iron will. I am the vanguard.
An enemy has been slain.
A real man never hides in the bush. Our
turret has been destroyed.
weakness.
An ally has been slain.
March on. Down the horn of victory. A true hero has come to help.
The enemy has slain the turtle.
Our victory eliminates every darkness.
Initiate retreat. Our turret is under attack. Launch attack. Launch attack. Our turret has been destroyed. Our turret is under attack.
We are the right order. We fight to the
Killing spree. Launch attack.
war benefits none. The horn of victory. A true hero has come to help. Together we are the Light's Order. We fight to the end.
Our turret is under attack. Our turret has been destroyed. Our turret has been destroyed. Our turret is under attack. Under attack.
Empire.
The turret is under attack.
Fight to the end.
Enemy has been slain.
A true hero has come to help. March on. Sound the horn of victory.
Our turret is under attack. Launch attack.
Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Your team destroyed a turret. Back up. Launch attack. Your team destroyed a turret.
Together we are the light. War benefits none. March on. Sound the horn of victory.
Request backup. Enemy killings. An enemy has been slain. Initiate retreat.
Ayan, paglingan ko sa...
Our inhibitor turret is under attack.
Together we are the Light's Order. We fight to the end.
Request backup. Our turret is under attack.
I stand with the Empire.
Your team destroyed a turret.
Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Ingay, ingay.
March on. Sound the
backup.
horn of victory.
An ally has been slain. Double kill. Initiate retreat.
Hero has
Under attack. Backup.
It's the number 30.
The enemy has slain Lord.
Sana kayo na nga po ang susunod na maging Mega Millionario. Okay, for the second and final number, we have...
Request backup.
sound the horn of victory. Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Request backup. Enemy rampage. Enemy rampage. Initiate retreat. Turret attack. Your turret is under attack. Our turret. Our turret has been destroyed. Defeat.
Umabot sa 100,000 pesos pag nakuha nyo ang mapipiling board ng Lotto winning combination.
Kaya ko na nga lang yan.
Tinatawag na roll 1 at roll 4. Kaya magtanong lamang sa mga friendly Lotto operators. Okay, nakapili na po ng 4 na numero para po sa ating 4D Lotto draw. Okay, for the first number,
Yun na.
we have the number 1. The second number is... And finally, the fourth number is... Ladies and gentlemen, for 4D Lotto.
Ako na ba? Doon ka na lang ako na maglalak.
For honor!
Sino pa siya rin doon? O palang pangalan ng basura.
Tinignan mo pa ako, visit ka. Sabi ni ano? Ayan, sa unang pangalan. Lupit niya ito. Saan kayo magkuha na? Bibili?
9 and 7 in exact
Magkano?
order. Lucky 2 numbers naman po maghahatid ng libo-libo pa premyo after some reminders from PCSO. Alinsunod po sa ordinansa na ipinasa ng siyudad ng Mandaluyong, amin pong ipinababatid na ang lahat ng nagdanais na makipag-ugnayang pisikal sa aming tanggapan ay kailangang mag-register at i-save ang Mandatrack QR code sa inyong mobile phone. Ang naturang polisiya ay mahigpit na ipinatutupad sa lahat ng tanggapan ng naturang siyudad. Ang PCSO po ay nakikisa sa paggamit ng Mandatrack bilang official contact tracing code na nagsusunod sa karaan ng sensor ng Tagalog. Para makapag-register, Mandatrack.access.net at ilagay ang inyong mga details. Protektahan ang sarili sa bansa.
Welcome, Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Initiate retreat! Request backup!
Together we are the light order. We fight to the end. War benefits none.
Wala, nakrap na yun.
I do not back out. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
You have been slain. Initiate retreat. An ally has been slain.
Our faith illuminates every darkness. Benefits none. Never hide in the bush.
Request backup. Your team destroyed a turret. Slain.
March on. Sound the
Initiate
horn of
retreat.
victory. A real man never hides in the bush. A true hero has come to help. Shield of the people. Expectation can be a burden. Even cannot deprive our eyes will. I stand for the Empire.
Launch attack.
We are the shield of the people.
Enemy has been slain.
March on.
Enemy has been
Sound
slain.
the horn of victory.
Launch attack. Enemy has been slain.
I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order. Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Initiate retreat.
I do not back out. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Killing spree. Shut down. Enemy has been slain.
The shield of the people. I do not. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Initiate retreat.
March on. Sound the horn of victory. Expectation.
Slain.
War benefits none.
Request backup. The enemy has
Expectation can be a burden.
Request backup. Request backup. Initiate retreat. Your team destroyed your retreat.
Yes, cannot deprive our iron will. A true hero has come.
Enemy has been slain. Your team destroyed a turret. Request backup.
Victory on the light
Request backup.
fight to the end.
Enemy has been slain.
Our iron will.
An ally has been slain. Push through. Launch attack.
War benefits none.
Initiate.
Even death cannot deprive our iron. Benefits none.
Enemy has been slain.
Even death cannot deprive our iron will.
Request backup.
Down to the horde of victory.
Slain an enemy. Enemy has been slain. Shut down. Double kill. An enemy request backup. Team destroyed your turret. An enemy has been slain.
Good.
Killing spree. Double kill.
Hinahanap ko.
Wipe your team destroyed a turret. Push first. Push first.
I do not back out.
Launch attack.
Lead with honor.
Your team
as I am
destroyed
the
a turret.
vanguard of the Light's
Uy.
Order.
Ginuguyod mo yan.
Push first. Launch attack. You have been slain. Request backup. Request backup. Initiate Our retreat. Turret has been destroyed. Launch attack. Killing spree. Launch attack. Initiate retreat. Unstoppable. Turret has been destroyed. Mega kill.
I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Request backup.
Excellent.
I has slain Lord. Request backup.
March on. Sound the horn of victory.
Push first. Initiate retreat. Killing spree. Our turret is under attack. Request backup. Request backup. Godlike. Initiate retreat. Launch attack. Push first. Your team destroyed a turret. Victory.
Ay, luman siya na. Inuot yun. School ka nang inuot na naman.
Tom-tom daw kini pauli. Tigugoy dan akon tigugoy pauli. Aram niya.
Nagkakalak ng bike ko yan.
Oo, kung bala dyan. Kung nga rin.
For honor.
Oh, alis yan. Ikaw na nanginginuto. Bibi. Hindi pag-raot ang bibi. Godlike. Godlike. Ah. 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 Ako na maglalak niyan, boy. Ako na. Wala pa kasi po dito. Magkaburong-burong.
Nilak nyo na
Ako na bahala.
Alis.
Oo, ako na bahala. Arrange mo na lang yung mga chinilas niyo. Ito sa
Nilak
gilid.
nyo na sa kusina.
Yan, dito lang sa gilid. Samudan ko kayo.
Yan, hanap ka ng pesto mo dito.
Ngor kay ni itaning mo yung lagang kumpog langayin tumaning mo sa yung ito. Pagtayang ka. Ade.
Nga po ito si Otto Bacolod mo na.
Gari na si Papa Asbo. Ano yan?
Yeah.
Mister po ba yan?
So,
Parang nang si...
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deploy backup!
Even death cannot deprive our iron will.
Request backup!
Nandito ba tayo sa kong project dito ko lang.
I do not back out. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the light.
Request backup!
A real man never hides in the bush. Expectation can be a burden. We are the sons of the people.
Initiate retreat!
A real man never hides in the bush. Even death cannot deprive our iron will. March on. Sound the horn of victory. Even death cannot deprive our iron will.
First blood!
I do not back out. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the light.
Ally has been slain.
dito, dali.
Real man never hides in the bush. Deprive of iron. I stand for the Empire.
An enemy has been slain.
Yan mo lang sa
A
pulpo.
true hero has come to
Attack!
We are the shield of the people.
The enemy has slain the turtle.
Together we are the light. We fight to the end.
Unstoppable! Initiate retreat! Initiate retreat! An ally has been slain. Request backup! Request backup! Your team destroyed a turret! An ally has been slain. Launch attack first!
I stand for the Empire.
Our turret has been destroyed. Your team destroyed a turret. Monster kill! Our turret is under attack. Request backup.
Even death cannot deprive our iron will.
Free. Initiate retreat. Kill. An enemy has been slain.
Are the shield of the
Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. Your team destroyed a turret. Launch attack.
A true hero has come to help.
Initiate retreat. Attack the turtle.
We are the lightning. We fight to the end. I stand for the Empire.
Request backup. Attack the turtle.
Sound the horn of victory.
Request backup.
I do not back out. I lead with honor, as I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Request back. Monster kill. Godlike. Push first. Attack the Lord.
A true hero has come to help.
Godlike. Has been slain.
We are the
Slain. You have slain an enemy. Legendary. Launch attack.
march on.
Your
Sound
team
the
destroyed a turret. Attack the Lord. Legendary.
Nag-chat sa akin ba?
You destroyed the turret.
True hero has come to help.
Legendary! Our turret is under attack. Attack the Lord!
I do not back out. I lead with honor. As I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Legendary! Our turret is under attack. Initiate retreat. Our turret has been destroyed.
We are the shield of the people.
Attack the Lord.
Expectation can be a burden. War benefits none.
Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Legendary! Double kill. Launch attack!
I stand for the Empire.
Attack the Lord!
Are the shield of the people.
Launch legendary! Legendary! Initiate retreat. An enemy has been slain.
Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Attack the Lord. Launch attack. Request backup.
War benefits none.
Have been slain. Launch attack. Initiate retreat. Attack the Lord. Attack the Lord.
Together we are the Light's Order. We fight to the end.
Initiate retreat. Attack the Lord.
We are the shield of the people. I stand with the Empire. Together
Scholastic Audio presents The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Oh, that's not her fault, I say. No, it's no one's fault. It's the way it is, says
March
Gail.
on. Sound the horn of victory. None can thrive our iron will.
Town. Rampage. Initiate retreat. Enemy unstoppable. Our turret has
Harry
been
Potter
destroyed.
and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Chapter 8. The Potions
Are the
Master.
heel of the people.
There, look. Where?
We've lost
Next to the
attack.
tall kid with the red hair. Wearing the glasses? Did you see his face? Did you see his scar? Whispers followed Harry from the moment he left his dormitory the next day. People lining up outside classrooms stood on tiptoe to get a look at him, or doubled back to pass him in the corridors again, staring. Harry wished they wouldn't, because he was trying to concentrate on finding his way to classes. There were 142 staircases at Hogwarts.
Our faith
Wide,
illuminates
sweeping
every
ones,
darkness.
narrow, rickety ones, some that led some...
Enemy has been slain.
I do not
Launch
back
attack.
out. I lead
Launch
with
attack.
honor, as
Harry
I am
Potter
the
and the
vanguard of the
Sorcerer's Stone.
Light's Order.
Launch attack.
Expectation.
Your team destroyed a turret. Legendary.
The Boys Who Knew.
Our faith illuminates every darkness.
Harry Potter and
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good, no, perfect words that make your writing
As I am the vanguard
Harry
of the
Potter
Light's
and the Sorcerer's Stone. Chapter 8. The Potions Master. There, look. Where? Next to the tall kid with the red hair. Wearing the glasses? Did you see his face? Did you see his scar? Whispers followed Harry from the moment he left his dormitory the next day. People lining up outside classrooms stood on tiptoe to get a look at him, or doubled back to pass him in the corridors again, staring. Harry wished they wouldn't, because he was trying to concentrate on finding his way to classes. There were 142 staircases at Hogwarts. Wide, sweeping ones, narrow, rickety ones, some that led somewhere different on a Friday, some with a vanishing step halfway up that you had to remember to jump. Then there were doors that wouldn't open unless you asked politely, or tickled them in exactly the right place, and doors that weren't really doors at all, but solid walls just pretending. It was also very hard to remember where anything was, because it all seemed to move around a lot.
Defeat.
A lot. The people in the portraits kept going to visit each other, and Harry was sure the coats of armors could walk. The ghost didn't help either. It was always a nasty shock when one of them glided suddenly through a door you were trying to open. Nearly Headless Nick was always happy to point new Gryffindors in the right direction, but Peeves the Poltergeist was worth 2 locked doors and a trick staircase if you met him when you were late to class. He would drop waste paper baskets on your head, pull rugs from under your feet, pelt you with bits of chalk, or sneak up behind you, invisible, grab your nose and screech, "Gotcha, punk!" Even worse than Peeves, if that was possible, was the caretaker, Argus Filch. Harry and Ron managed to get on the wrong side of him on their very first morning. Filch found them trying to force their way through a door that unluckily turned out to be the entrance to the out-of-bounds corridor on the 3rd floor. He wouldn't believe that they were lost, and was sure that
Trisha W. Peñaranda thanks sa pag-like ng stream. Trisha W. Peñaranda.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed! Initiate retreat!
that they were trying to break into it on purpose and threatening to lock them in the dungeon when they were rescued by Professor Quirrell, who was passing.
Okay.
Filch owned a cat
The
called
future of
Mrs.
Cadia
North,
Riverlands
a
is
scrawny,
in our
dust-colored
hands.
creature with bulging, lamp-like eyes just like Filch's. She patrolled the corridors alone. Break a rule in front of her, put just one toe out of line, and she'd whisk off for Filch, who'd appear, wheezing, 2 seconds later. Filch knew the secret passageways of the school better than anyone, except perhaps the Weasley twins, and could pop up as suddenly as any of the ghosts. The students all hated him, and it was the dearest ambition of many to give Mrs. North a good kick. And then, once you managed to find them, there were the classes themselves. There was a lot more to magic, as Harry quickly found out, than waving your wand and saying a few funny words. They had to study the night skies through their telescopes every Wednesday at midnight and learn the names of different stars and the movements of the planets. 3 times a week, they went out to the greenhouses behind the castle to study herbology with a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout, where they learned how to take care of all the strange plants and fungi and found out what they were used for. Easily the most boring class was History of Magic, which was the only one taught by a ghost. Professor Wens had been very old indeed when he had fallen asleep in front of the scaffolding fire and got up next morning to teach, leaving his body behind him. Fins droned on and on while they scribbled down names and dates and got Emmerich the Evil and Murik the Oddball mixed up. Professor Flitwick, the charm teacher, was a tiny little wizard who would stand on a pile of books to see over his desk. At the start of their first class, he took the roll call, and when he reached Harry's name, he gave an excited squeak and popped out of sight. Professor McGonagall was again different. Harry had been quite right to think she wasn't a teacher to cross. Strict and clever, she gave them a talking to the moment they sat down in her first class. Transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts, she said. Anyone messing around in my class will leave and not come back. You have been warned. Then, she changed her desk into a pig and back again. They were all very impressed and couldn't wait to get started, but soon realized they weren't going to be changing the furniture into animals for a long time. After taking a lot of complicated
Everyone
notes,
has the
they
right
were
to
each given
embrace
a
their
match and
true
started
self.
trying to turn it into a needle. By the end of the lesson, only Hermione Granger had made any difference to her match. Professor
Never
McGonagall
look
showed the
back
class
if
how
you
it
have
had gone all
nothing to
silver and
regret.
pointy and gave Hermione a rare smile. The class everyone had really been looking forward to
Your team
was Defense
destroyed
Against
a
the Dark
turret.
Arts, but Quirrell's lessons turned out to be a bit of a joke. His classroom smelled strongly of garlic, which everyone said was to ward off a vampire
Our
he'd met in
victory
Romania
will be
and was afraid
limitless.
would come back to get him one of these days. His turban, he told them, had been given to him by an African prince as a thank you for getting rid of a troublesome zombie. But they weren't sure they believed this story. For one thing, when Seamus Finnegan asked eagerly to hear how Quirrell had fought off the zombie, Quirrell went pink and started talking about the weather. For another, they had noticed that a funny smell hung around the turban, and the Weasley twins insisted that it was stuffed full of garlic as well, so that Quirrell was protected wherever
Our
he went.
victories will be limitless.
Harry was very relieved to find out that he wasn't miles behind everyone else. Lots of people had come from Muggle families, and like him, hadn't
Like
had
a
any
string
idea
puppet,
that they were
you are
witches and
totally
wizards.
Team
There was so much to learn that even people like
Victory!
Ron didn't have
kalaban,
much
hindi
of a
sila
head
gumagano.
start. Friday was an important day for Harry and Ron. They finally managed to find their way down to the Great Hall for breakfast without getting lost once. What have we got today? Harry asked Ron as he poured sugar on his porridge. Double potions with the Slytherins, said Ron. Snape's head of the Slytherin house. They say he always favors them. We'll be able to see if it's true. Wish McGonagall favored us, said Harry. Professor McGonagall was head of Gryffindor House, but it hadn't stopped her from giving them a huge pile of homework the day before. Just then, the mail arrived. Harry had gotten used to this by now, but it had given him a bit of a shock on the first morning. When about 100 owls had suddenly streamed into the Great Hall during breakfast, circling the tables until they saw their owners and dropping letters and packages onto their laps. Hedwig hadn't brought Harry anything so far. She sometimes flew in to nibble his ear and have a bit of toast before going off to sleep in the owlery with the other school owls. This morning, however, she fluttered down between the marmalade.
May mag-ano tayo dyan, boy. May 5 ako dyan, ah.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the
Played in the
enemy
sugar
reaches
bowl
the
and dropped the note onto Harry's plate. Harry tore it open
All
for
troops
it.
deployed!
It said, in a very untyped scrawl, Dear Harry, I know you get Friday afternoons off, so would you like to come and have a cup of tea with me around 3? I want to hear all about your first week.
the Oriental
Send us an answer back with Hedwig. Hagrid. Harry borrowed Ron's quill, scribbled yes please, see you later on the back of the note, and sent Hedwig off again. It was lucky that Harry had two with Hagrid to look forward to, because the potions lesson turned out to be the worst thing that had happened to him so far. At the start of the term banquet, Harry had gotten the idea that Professor Snape disliked him. By the end of the first potion lesson, he knew he'd been wrong. Snape didn't dislike Harry. He hated him. Potions lessons took place down in one of the dungeons. It was colder here than up in the main castle. It would have been quite creepy enough without the pickled animals floating in glass jars all around the walls. Snape, like Flitwick, started the class by taking the roll call, and like Flitwick, he paused at Harry's name. Ah yes, he said softly, Harry Potter, our new celebrity. Draco Malfoy and his friends Crabbe and Goyle snickered behind their hands. Snape finished calling the names and looked up at the class. His eyes were black like Hagrid's, but they had none of Hagrid's warmth. They were cold and empty and made you think of dark tunnels. You are here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making, he began. He spoke in barely more than a whisper, but they caught every word. Like Professor McGonagall, Snape had the gift of keeping a class silent without effort. As there is little foolish wand waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I don't expect you will really understand the beauty of a softly simmering cauldron with its shimmering fumes, the delicate power of liquids that creep through human veins, bewitching the mind, ensnaring the senses. I can teach you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stopper death, if you aren't as big a bunch of dunderheads
You
as I
are
usually have
failing,
to teach.
the Oriental Warriors.
More silence followed this little speech. Harry and Ron exchanged looks with raised eyebrows. Hermione Granger was on the edge of her seat and looked desperate to start proving that she wasn't a dunderhead. Potter, said Snape suddenly, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Powdered root of what? To an infusion of what? Harry glanced at Ron, who looked as stumped as he was. Hermione's hand had shot into the air. I don't know, sir, said Harry.
The future of Katie Riverlands is in our hands.
Tut-tut, saying clearly isn't everything. He ignored Hermione's hand. Let's try again, Potter. Where would you look if I told you to find me a Bezoar? Hermione stretched her hand as high into the air as it would go without her leaving her seat. But Harry didn't have the faintest idea what a Bezoar was. He tried not to look at Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle, who were shaking with laughter. I don't know, sir. Thought you wouldn't open a book before coming, eh, Potter? Harry forced himself to keep looking straight into those cold eyes. He had looked through his books at the Dursleys, but did Snape expect him to remember everything in 1,000 magical herbs and fungi? Snape was still ignoring Hermione's shivering hand. What is the difference, Potter, between monkshood and wolfsbane? At this, Hermione stood up, her hand stretching towards the dungeon ceiling. I don't know, said Harry quietly. I think Hermione does, though. Why don't you tell her? A few people laughed. Harry caught Seamus's eye, and Seamus winked. Snape, however, was not pleased. Sit down, he snapped at Hermione. For your information, Potter, asphodel and wormwood make a sleeping potion so powerful it is known as the Drought of the Living Death.
Our victory
is limitless. A stone taken from the stomach of a goat and to save you from most poisons. As for monkshood and wolfsbane, they are the same plant, which also goes by the name of aconite. Well, why aren't you all copying that down? There was a sudden rummaging for quills and parchment. Over the noise, Snape said, "And a point will be taken from Gryffindor House for your cheek, Potter." Things didn't improve for the Gryffindors as the potion lessons continued. Snape put them all into pairs and set them to mixing up a simple potion to cure boils. He swept around in his long black cloak, watching them weigh dried nettles and crushed snake fangs. criticizing almost everyone except Malfoy, who he seemed to like.
Your team
He
destroyed
was just
a
telling everyone
turret.
to look at the perfect way Malfoy had sealed
Everyone
his
has the
blood
right to
in
embrace their
clouds
true
of
self.
acid, green smoke, and a loud hissing filled the dungeon. Neville had somehow managed to melt things in his cauldron into a twisted blob, and their potion was seeping across the stone floor, burning holes into the shoes. Within seconds, the whole class was standing on their stools while Neville, who had been drenched in the potion when the cauldron collapsed, moaned in pain as angry red foil sprang up all over his arms and legs. Idiot boy, snarled Snape, clearing the spilled potion away with one wave of his wand. I suppose you added the porcupine quills before taking the cauldron off the fire. Neville whimpered as boils started to pop up all over his nose. Take him to
Everyone
the
has the
hospital,
right to
Snape spat at Seamus. Then he rounded on Harry and Ron, who had been working next to Neville. You, Potter,
Loneliness never
why didn't you
bothers
tell him
me.
not to have the quills? Thought he'd make you look good if he got it wrong, did you? That's another point you've lost for Gryffindor. This was so unfair that
Our
Harry opened his
victories
mouth
will
to
be
argue,
limitless.
but Ron kicked him behind their cauldron. Don't push it, he muttered. I've heard
has been
Snape can turn
slain.
very nasty.
Double kill.
As they climbed the steps out of the dungeon an hour later, Harry's mind was racing and his spirits were low. He'd lost 2 points for Gryffindor in his very first week. Why did Snape hate him so much? Cheer up, said Ron. Snape's always taking points off Fred and George. Can I come and meet Hagrid with you? At 5 to 3, they left the castle and made their way across the grounds. Hagrid lived in a small wooden house on the edge of the Forbidden Forest. A crossbow and a pair of galoshes were outside the front door. When Harry knocked, they heard a frantic scrabbling from inside and several booming barks. Then Hagrid's voice rang out, saying, "Back, Fang, back!"
Our turret is under
Hagrid's
attack.
big,
Your
hairy
team
face appeared in the
destroyed a
crack as he
turret.
pulled the door open. "Hang on," he said. "Back, Fang." He let them in, struggling to keep a hold on the collar of an enormous black boarhound.
The future of
There was
Katie
only one room
Rivers
inside. Hams and pheasants were hanging from the ceiling, a copper kettle was boiling on the open fire, and in the corner stood a massive bed with patchwork quilts over it. "Make yourselves at home," said Hagrid, letting go of Fang, who bounded straight at Ron and started licking his ears. Like Hagrid, Fang was clearly not as fierce as he looked. "This is Ron," Harry told
Our
Hagrid.
victory
He was pouring boiling water into a large teapot and putting rock cakes onto a plate. "Another Weasley, eh?" said Hagrid, glancing at Ron's freckles. "I spent half my life chasing
Like
your
a
twin
street
brothers away
puppet,
from the
you are
forest."
totally under
My control.
The rock cakes were shapeless lumps with raisins that almost broke their teeth.
free.
But Harry and Ron pretended to be enjoying them as they told Hagrid all about their first lessons. Fang rested his head on Harry's knee and drooled all over his robe. Harry and Ron were delighted to hear Hagrid call Filch "that old git." "And for that cat, Mrs. Norris, I'd like to introduce her to Fang sometime. You know, every time I go up to the school, she follows me everywhere. Can't get rid of her." Filch took her up to it. Harry told Hagrid about Snape's lesson. Hagrid, like Ron, told Harry not to worry about it, that Snape hardly liked any of the students. "Didn't he really hate me?" "Rubbish," said Hagrid. "Why should he?" Yet Harry couldn't help thinking that Hagrid didn't quite meet his eyes when he said that. "How's your brother Charlie?" Hagrid asked Ron. "I liked him a lot. Great with animals."
Your team destroyed
Harry
a
wondered
turret.
if Hagrid had changed the subject
Our
on purpose.
victories will be
While Ron
limitless.
told Hagrid all about Charlie's work with dragons, Harry picked up a piece of paper that was lying on the table under the tea cozy. It was a cutting from the Daily Prophet. Gringotts
Like a
break-in latest. Investigations continue into the break-in at Gringotts on 31st July. Widely believed to be the work of dark wizards or witches unknown. Gringotts goblins today insisted that nothing had been taken. The vault that was searched had in fact been emptied the same day. "But we're not telling you what was in there, so keep your noses out if you know what's good for you," said a Gringotts spokesgoblin this afternoon. Harry remembered Ron telling him on the train that someone had tried to rob Gringotts, but Ron hadn't mentioned the date. Hagrid, said Harry, that Gringotts break-in happened on my birthday. It might have been happening while we were there. There was no doubt about it. Hagrid definitely didn't meet Harry's eyes this time. He grunted and offered him another rock cake. Harry read the story again.
Everyone has the
vault
right
that
to
was
embrace
searched
their
had in fact
true
been
self.
emptied earlier that same day. Hagrid had emptied Vault 715, if you could call it emptying, taking out that grubby little package.
Future of
Had that been what the thieves were looking for? As Harry and Ron walked back to the castle for dinner, their pockets weighed down with the rock cakes they'd been too polite to refuse. Harry thought that none of the lessons he'd had so far had given him as much to think about as to with Hagrid. Had Hagrid collected that package just in time? Where was it now?
Never look
And
back
did
if you
Hagrid
have
know something
nothing
about
to
Snape
regret.
that he didn't want to tell Harry?
Your team lost the turret. Down the earth. Your life is worthless, but I will. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Killing spree! Everyone has the right to embrace their true self. Mega kill! Victory!
Hindi ko naririnig.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 9, The Midnight Duel. Harry had... had never believed he had made a boy he hated more than Dudley, but that was before he met Draco Malfoy. Still, first-year Gryffindors only had potions with the Slytherins, so they didn't have to put up with Malfoy much, or at least they didn't until they spotted a notice pinned up in the Gryffindor common room that made them all groan. Flying lessons would be starting on Thursday, and Gryffindor and Slytherin would be learning together. Typical, said Harry darkly. Just what I always wanted, to make a fool of myself on a broomstick in front of Malfoy. He had been looking forward to learning to fly more than anything else. You don't know that you'll make a fool of yourself, said Ron reasonably. Anyway, I know Malfoy's always going on about how good he is at Quidditch, but I bet that's all talk. Malfoy certainly did talk about flying a lot. He complained loudly about first years never getting on the house Quidditch teams, and told long, boastful stories that always seemed to end with him narrowly escaping muggles in helicopters. He wasn't the only one, though. The way Seamus Finnegan told it, he'd spent most of his childhood zooming around the countryside on his broomstick. Even Ron would tell anyone who'd listen about the time he'd almost hit a hang glider on Charlie's old broom. Everyone from Wizarding families talked about Quidditch constantly. Ron had already had a big argument with Dean Thomas, who shared their dormitory about soccer. Ron couldn't see what was exciting about a game with only one ball, where no one was allowed to fly. Harry had caught Ron prodding Dean's poster of West Ham soccer team, trying to make the players move. Neville had never been on a broomstick in his life, because his grandmother had never let him near one. Privately, Harry felt she'd had good reason, because Neville managed to have an extraordinary number of accidents, even with both feet on the ground. Hermione Granger was almost as nervous about flying as Neville was. This was something you couldn't learn by heart out of a book, not that she hadn't tried. At breakfast on Thursday, she bored them all stupid with flying tips she'd gotten out of a library book called Quidditch Through the Ages. Neville was hanging on to her every word, desperate for anything that might help him hang on to his broomstick later. But everybody else was very pleased when Hermione's lecture was interrupted by the arrival of the mail. Harry hadn't had a single letter since Hagrid's note, something that Malfoy had been quick to notice, of course. Malfoy's eagle owl was always bringing him packages of sweets from home, which he opened gloatingly at the Slytherin table. A barn owl brought Neville a small package from his grandmother. He opened it excitedly and showed them a glass ball the size of a large marble, which seemed to be full of white smoke. "It's a remember-all," he exclaimed. "Gran knows I forget things. This tells you if there's something you've forgotten to do. Look, you hold it tight like this, and if it turns red..." Oh, his face fell, because the remember-all had suddenly glowed scarlet. "You've forgotten something." Neville was trying to remember what he'd forgotten when Draco Malfoy, who was passing the Gryffindor table, snatched the remember-all out of his hand. Harry and Ron jumped to their feet. They were half hoping for a reason to fight Malfoy, but Professor McGonagall, who could spot trouble quicker than any teacher in the school, was there in a flash. "What's going on?" "Malfoy's got my remember-all, Professor." Scowling, Malfoy quickly dropped the remember-all back on the table. "Just looking," he said, and he sloped away with Crabbe and Goyle behind him. At 3:30 that afternoon, Harry, Ron, and the other Gryffindors hurried down the front steps onto the grounds for their first flying lesson. It was a clear, breezy day, and the grass rippled under their feet as they marched down the sloping lawns toward a smooth, flat lawn on the opposite side of the grounds to the Forbidden Forest, whose trees were swaying darkly in the distance. The Slytherins were already there, and so were 20 broomsticks lying in neat lines on the ground. Harry had heard Fred and George Weasley complain about the school brooms, saying that some of them started to vibrate if you flew too high, or always flew slightly to the left. Their teacher, Madame Hooch, arrived. She had short, gray hair and yellow eyes like a hawk. "Well, what are you all waiting for?" she barked. "Everyone stand by a broomstick. Come on, hurry up." Harry glanced down at his broom. It was old and some of the twigs stuck out at odd angles. "Stick out your right hand up over your broom," called Madame Hooch at the front, "and say, 'Up.'" "Up," everyone shouted.
I am the vanguard of the Light's Order.
Request backup.
Shouted. Harry's broom jumped into his hand at once, but it was one of the few that did. Hermione Granger's had simply rolled over onto the ground, and Neville's hadn't moved at all. Perhaps brooms, like horses, could tell when you were afraid, thought Harry. There was a quaver in Neville's voice that said only too clearly that he wanted to keep his feet on the ground. Madame Hooch then showed them how to mount their brooms without sliding off the end, and walked up and down the rows correcting their grip. Harry and Ron were delighted when she told Malfoy he'd been doing it wrong for years. "Now, when I blow my whistle, you kick off from the ground, hard," said Madame Hooch. "Keep your broom steady, rise a few feet, and then come straight." Back down by leaning forward slightly. "On my whistle. 3, 2... But Neville, nervous and jumpy and frightened of being left on the ground, pushed off hard before the whistle had touched Madame Hooch's lips. Come back, boy, she shouted. But Neville was rising straight up like a cork shot out of a bottle. 12 feet, 20 feet. Harry saw his scared white face look down at the ground, falling away. Saw him gasp, slip sideways off the broom, and wham! A thud and a nasty crack, and Neville lay face down on the grass in a heap. His broomstick was still rising higher and higher, and started to drift lazily toward the forbidden forest and out of sight. Madam Hooch was bending over Neville, her face as white as his. Broken wrist, Harry heard her mutter. Come on, boy, it's all right, up you get. She turned to the rest of the class. None of you is to move while I take this boy to the hospital wing. You leave those rooms where they are, or you'll be out of Hogwarts before you can say Quidditch. Come on, dear. Neville, his face tear-streaked, clutching his wrist, hobbled off with Madam Hooch, who had her arm around him. No sooner were they out of earshot than Malfoy burst into laughter. Did you see his face, the great lump? The other Slytherins joined in. Shut up, Malfoy, snapped Parvati Patil. Ooh, sticking up for Longbottom, said Pansy Parkinson, a hard-faced Slytherin girl. Never thought you'd like fat little crybabies, Parvati. Look, said Malfoy, darting forward and snatching something off the grass. That stupid thing Longbottom's brain sent him. The Remembrall glittered in the sun as he held it up. Give that here, Malfoy, said Harry quietly. Everyone stopped talking to watch. Malfoy smiled nastily. I think I'll leave it somewhere for Longbottom to find. How about up a tree? Give it here, Harry yelled. But Malfoy had leapt onto his broomstick and taken off. He hadn't been lying. He could fly well. Hovering level with the topmost branches of an oak, he called, Come and get it, Potter. Harry grabbed his broom. No, shouted Hermione Granger. Madam Hooch told us not to move. You'll get us all in trouble. Harry ignored her. Blood was pounding in his ears. He mounted the broom and kicked hard against the ground, and up he soared. Air rushed through his hair, and his robes whipped out behind him. And in a rush of fierce joy, he realized he'd found something he could do without being taught. This was easy. This was wonderful. He pulled his broomstick up a little to take it even higher, and heard screams and gasps of girls back on the ground, and an admiring whoop from Ron. He turned his broomstick sharply to face Malfoy in midair. Malfoy looked stunned. Get it here, Harry called, or I'll knock you off that broom. Oh yeah? Said Malfoy, trying to sneer but looking worried. Harry knew somehow what to do. He leaned forward and grasped the broom tightly in both hands, and it shot toward Malfoy like a javelin. Malfoy only just got out of the way in time. Harry made a sharp about face and held the broom steady. A few people below were clapping. No Crabbe and Goyle up here to save your neck, Malfoy, Harry called. The same thought seemed to have struck Malfoy. Catch it if you can, then, he shouted, and he threw the glass ball high into the air and streaked back toward the ground. Harry saw, as though in slow motion, the ball rise up in the air and then start to fall. He leaned forward and pointed his broom handle down. Next second, he was gathering speed in a steep dive, racing the ball. Wind whistled in his ears and mingled with the screams of people watching. He stretched out his hand. A foot from the ground, he caught it, just in time to pull his broom straight, and he toppled gently onto the grass with the Remembrall clutch safely in his fist. Harry Potter! His heart sank faster than he'd just died. Professor McGonagall was running toward him. He got to his feet, trembling. Never, in all my time at Hogwarts. Professor McGonagall was almost speechless with shock, and her glasses flashed furiously. How dare you? Might have broken your neck. It wasn't his fault, Professor. Be quiet, Miss Patil. But Malfoy... That's enough, Mr. Weasley. Potter, follow me, now.
Shut down!
Harry caught sight of Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle's triumphant faces as he left. walking numbly in Professor McGonagall's wake as she strode toward the castle. He was going to be expelled. He just knew it. He wanted to say something to defend himself, but there seemed to be something wrong with his voice. Professor McGonagall was sweeping along without even looking at him. He had to jog to keep up. Now we've done it. He hadn't even lasted 2 weeks. He'd be packing his bags in 10 minutes. What would the Dursleys say when he turned up on the doorstep? Up the front steps, up the marble staircase inside, and still Professor McGonagall didn't say a word to him. She wrenched open doors and marched along corridors with Harry trotting miserably behind her. Maybe she was taking him to Dumbledore. He thought of Hagrid, expelled but allowed to stay on as gamekeeper. Perhaps he could be Hagrid's assistant. His stomach twisted as he imagined it, watching Ron and the others becoming wizards while he stomped around the grounds carrying Hagrid's bag. Professor McGonagall stopped outside a classroom. She opened the door and poked her head inside. Excuse me, Professor Flitwick. Could I borrow wood for a moment? Wood? Thought Harry, bewildered. Was wood a cane she was going to use on him? But Wood turned out to be a person, a burly fifth-year boy who came out of Flitwick's class looking confused. "Follow me, you two," said Professor McGonagall, and they marched on up the corridor, Wood looking curiously at Harry. "In here." Professor McGonagall pointed them into a classroom that was empty except for Peeves, who was busy writing rude words on the blackboard. "Out, Peeves," she barked. Peeves threw the chalk into a bin, which clanged loudly, and he swooped out, cursing. Professor McGonagall slammed the door behind him and turned to face the two boys. "Potter, this is Oliver Wood. Wood, I found you a secret." Wood's expression changed from puzzlement to delight. "Are you serious, Professor?" "Absolutely," said Professor McGonagall crisply. "The boy's a natural. I've never seen anything like it. Was that your first time on a broomstick, Potter?" Harry nodded silently. He didn't have a clue what was going on, but he didn't seem to be being expelled, and some of the feelings started coming back into his legs. He caught that thing in his hand after a 50-foot dive, Professor McGonagall told Wood. Didn't even scratch himself. Charlie Weasley couldn't have done it. Wood was now looking as though all his dreams had come true at once. "Ever seen a game of Quidditch, Potter?" he asked excitedly. "Wood's captain of the Gryffindor team," Professor McGonagall explained. "He's just the build for a sequel, too," said Wood, now walking around Harry and staring at him. "Light, speedy. We'll have to get him a decent broom, Professor. A Nimbus 2000 or Clean Sweep 7, I'd say." "I shall speak to Professor Dumbledore and see if he can't bend the first-year rule. Heaven knows we need a better team than last year. Flattened in that last match by Slytherin. I couldn't look Severus Snape in the face for weeks." Professor McGonagall peered sternly over her glasses at Harry. "I want to hear you're training hard, Potter, or I may change my mind about punishing you." Then she suddenly smiled. "Your father would have been proud," she said. "He was an excellent Quidditch player himself." "You're joking." It was dinner time. Harry had just finished telling Ron what had happened when he left the grounds with Professor McGonagall. Ron had a piece of steak and kidney pie halfway to his mouth, but he'd forgotten all about it. "Seeker," he said, "but first years never." "You must be the youngest house player in about a century," said Harry, shoveling pie into his mouth. He felt particularly hungry after the excitement of the afternoon. Wood told him. Ron was so amazed, so impressed, he just sat and gaped at Harry. "I start training next week," said Harry. "Only don't tell anyone. Wood wants to keep it a secret." Fred and George Weasley now came into the hall, spotted Harry, and hurried over. "Well done," said George in a low voice. "Wood told us. We're on the team, too. Beaters." "I tell you, we're going to win that Quidditch Cup for sure this year," said Fred. "We haven't won since Charlie left. But this year's team is going to be brilliant. You must be good, Harry. Wood was almost skipping when he told us." Anyway, we've got to go. Lee Jordan reckons he's found a new secret passageway out of the school. Bet it's that one behind the statue of Gregory the Smarmy that we found in our first week. See you. Fred and George had hardly disappeared when someone far less welcome turned up. Malfoy, flanked by Crabbe and Goyle. Having a last meal, Potter? When are you getting the train back to the Muggles? You're a lot braver now that you're back on the ground and you've got your little friends with you, said Harry coolly. There was, of course, nothing at all little about Crabbe and Goyle, but as the high table was full of teachers, neither of them could do more than crack their knuckles and scowl. I'd take you on any time on my own, said Malfoy. Tonight, if you want. Wizard's duel. Wands only, no contact. What's the matter? Never heard of a wizard's duel before, I suppose?
Been slain.
Of course he has, said Ron, wheeling around. I'm his second. Who's yours? Malfoy looked at Crabbe and Goyle, sizing them up. Crabbe, he said. Midnight all right? We'll meet you in the trophy room. That's always unlocked. When Malfoy had gone, Ron and Harry looked at each other. What is a wizard's duel? Said Harry. What do you mean you're my second? Well, a second's there to take over if you die, said Ron casually, getting started at last on his cold pie. Catching the look on Harry's face, he added quickly, but people only die in proper duels. You know, with real wizards. The most you and Malfoy will be able to do is send sparks at each other. Neither of you knows enough magic to do any real damage. I bet he expected you to refuse anyway. What if I wave my wand and nothing happens? Throw it away and punch him on the nose, Ron suggested. Excuse me. They both looked up. It was Hermione Granger. Can't a person eat in peace in this place, said Ron. Hermione ignored him and spoke to Harry. I couldn't help overhearing what you and Malfoy were saying. Bet you could, Ron muttered. And you mustn't go wandering around the school at night. Think of the point you'll lose Gryffindor if you're caught. And you're bound to be. It's really very selfish of you. And it's really none of your business, said Harry. Goodbye, said Ron. All the same, it wasn't what you'd call the perfect end to the day, Harry thought, as he lay awake much later listening to Dean and Seamus falling asleep. Neville wasn't back from the hospital room. Ron had spent all evening giving him advice such as, if he tries to push you, you'd better dodge it, because I can't remember how to block them. There was a very good chance they were going to get caught by Filch or Mrs. Norris, and Harry felt he was pushing his luck, breaking another school rule today. On the other hand, Malfoy's sneering face kept looming up out of the darkness. This was his big chance to beat Malfoy face to face. He couldn't miss it. 11:30, Ron muttered at last. We'd better go. They pulled on their bathrobes, picked up their wands, and crept across the tower room, down the spiral staircase, and into the Gryffindor common room. A few embers were still glowing in the fireplace, turning all the armchairs into hunched black shadows. They had almost reached the portrait hole when a voice spoke from the chair nearest them. I can't believe you're going to do this, Harry. A lamp flickered on. It was Hermione Granger, wearing a pink bathrobe and a frown. You, said Ron furiously, go back to bed. I almost told your brother, Hermione snapped. Percy, he's a prefect. He'd put a stop to this. Harry couldn't believe anyone could be so infuriating. Come on, he said to Ron. He pushed open the portrait of the fat lady and climbed through the hole. Hermione wasn't going to give up that easily. She followed Ron through the portrait hole, hissing at them like an angry goose. Don't you care about Gryffindor? Do you only care about yourselves? I don't want Slytherin to win the House Cup, and you'll lose all the points I got from Professor McGonagall for knowing about switching spells. Go away. All right, but I warned you. You just remember what I said when you're on return home tomorrow. Or so. But what they were, they didn't find out. Hermione had turned to the portrait of the fat lady to get back inside and found herself facing an empty painting. The fat lady had gone on a nighttime visit, and Hermione was locked out in Gryffindor Tower. Now what am I going to do? she said shrilly. That's your problem, said Ron. We've got to go. We're going to be late. They hadn't even reached the end of the corridor when Hermione caught up with them. I'm coming with you, she said. You are not. Do you think I'm going to stand out here and wait for Filch to catch me? If he finds all three of us, I'll tell him the truth, that I was trying to stop you, and you can back me up. You've got some nerve, said Ron loudly. Shut up, both of you, said Harry sharply. I heard something. It was a sort of snuffling. Mrs. Norris? breathed Ron, squinting through the dark. It wasn't Mrs. Norris. It was Neville. He was curled up on the floor, fast asleep, but jerked suddenly awake as they cut nearer. Thank goodness you found me. I've been out here for hours. I couldn't remember the new password to get into bed. Keep your voice down, Neville. The password's pig snout, but it won't help you now. The fat lady's gone off somewhere. How's your arm? Said Harry. Fine, said Neville, showing him. Madame Pomfrey mended it in about a minute. Good. Well, look, Neville, we've got to be somewhere. We'll see you later. Don't leave me, said Neville, scrambling to his feet. I don't want to stay here alone. The Bloody Baron's been past twice already.